Grand Rising. Alright, man. Hope everybody got some good sleep last night. Good rest. It is precisely 4:58 a.m. in the morning. And I just, you know me, man. When it's on me, man, I gotta get it off. You know how it goes. Hope you open up the third eye this morning, man. We're gonna be reading from a book called Osiris and the Egyptian Resurrection. I repeat, we're reading from a book called Osiris and the Egyptian Resurrection. It's gonna blow your mind. And I'm only gonna read 2 pages. Ain't even going into the chapters. I'm reading from the preface. Alright? I repeat, I'm reading from the preface. 2 pages from the preface. And I want you to keep in mind that even this book is truth in it, but it was scribed or was written by a Caucasian. And if you know history, they have never wrote anything really that good. Let's be real, let's be honest. They haven't wrote anything good about our people, ever. They always made them look like they was idiots. They always made them look like they was nincompoops. They always made them look like they was not relevant. They always made them look like they was of low stock or something. Like we get ready to read right now. How he was writing about our people all being cannibals. That's some white shit if you ever heard of it. Excuse my language, y'all. I just get pissed off sometimes. So much you gotta go through to get through the truth, man. Once this is open, once that third eye is open, man, you weave through all that BS. Cause the connection that you have with your higher self or the creator of the universe, let's say it like that. He gonna let you know, nah, go on by that. Nah, go on. He just controlling you, showing you where to go. And when we say lead us and guide us, that's what's happening when this is open, when that third eye is open. All right, man, without any further ado, this is 1911, E.A. Wallace Budge, Osiris and the Egyptian Resurrection. It's 890 pages. Now you can download a free PDF of this and have it. Study it, read it. Okay? A free PDF online, Osiris and the Egyptian Resurrection. All right. It says the general evidence derived from the religion of ancient Egypt showed that all the great fundamental beliefs centered in Osiris and his cult. And I therefore decided to attempt to write the history of the god, he used a small g, and of his principal forms to describe the salient points of his worship and to illustrate the beliefs which were crystallized in it with the facts collected in Egypt and the Sudan, and those derived from narratives of travelers. So he's writing what he heard from travelers, okay? He said that in those countries, with the cult of Osiris was bound up all that was best in the civilization of Egypt. It's writing so small. During the dynastic period, it weaned, listen how he said this, it weaned the primitive Egyptians from cannibalism and from cruel and barbarous customs. We're going to pause right there for a minute. Now he's saying the Egyptian had cruel and barbarous customs. And then he went into cannibalism. Now let's stop that right there. And let's look at the history of the Caucasian compared to the Egyptians. We're talking about Neanderthals. That's in the Caucasian bloodstream, the Neanderthal. Go look that up. Oh man, I got a whole teaching getting ready to come on that. About to drop it down on you about the troglodyte niggas. Oh, it's deep. My man Taj Bay, he done broke that down one time. But let your boy touch it and show you how. I'm gonna touch it one time and let you see what I'm talking about too. But let's think of their history. He's speaking on Egyptian as being primitive, custom, barbarous cannibals, when these Caucasians actually was living in caves. That is their history. That's a fact. Now, how could we expect, even though he is some truth in what E.A. Wallace Budge is saying, can't expect him to be the big eye people all the way up? Because when they got there and found out them Egyptians was black, they didn't like that. Why is that? Because they started seeing the big Sphinx and the big pyramids and all these great monolithic structures built by these people when they found out these people was black. So you can't expect them to write anything good about our people. So we're going to weed past that bullshit that he just said about that cannibalism. And we're going to keep on reading. All right? All right. Third eye's open, right? All right. Give me a minute, y'all. Sorry. I get so passionate about this stuff. It weaned the primitive Egyptians from cannibalism and from cruel and barbarous customs. It taught them to respect human life and to regard man as the image of God. So, he acknowledged and he recognizes that the Egyptians knew that man was made in the image of God. Wow. And that was printed. He's writing this off of what they call the pyramid text and off of stuff that he heard travelers who went to Egypt and the Sudan say this. This is what his words just said. This is in the preface of the book. Okay? But when you read your Bible, it tells you, this very book, that we were created in the image of God. I told you they had an origin of where they took the story from. Open up your third eye, baby. Pay attention. Ain't nothing but truth getting dropped on you. Jewels dropping on you this morning. He said they had them to respect human life and to regard man as the image of God and his dead body as a sacred thing. It induced them to devote themselves to agricultural labors, and it improved their morality. Pause. It improved their morality. So you gotta look beyond the BS. See, you gotta understand the serpent tongue, man. Fork-sided, the two-sided tongue. You gotta understand how the serpent moves. So now it's saying that it improved their morality. When there's nothing greater in history that's been documented like the 42 laws of Ma'at. You see there? The rest of the civilizations and the rest of the people would have had to learn anything of morality from ancient Kemet. See? Recognize the serpent. Open up the third eye. Let's keep rolling. It said it improved their morality. Come back here. Give me 1 minute. See, boy, the jewels dropping down. This thing trying to act up right now. Them jewels dropping. This thing trying to act up right now, man. Trying to act up. It's all good. Ain't stopping nothing. 1 minute. Okay. It improved their morality. Above all, it transformed them from nomad. Listen to this now. It transformed them from nomad hunters and thieves. Oh man, do you hear the BS? Now, this is what I want to show you. Third eye open. Let's look at the history of Caucasians compared to the Egyptians who were black. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna weigh it out. Okay? We're going to wait. The person that's writing this, E.A. Wallace Budge, a white man, like I said, right? Watch how the serpent moves with the forked tongue. Now he said what they learned from Osiris transformed them from being immoral and transformed them from not being thieves and cannibals. Now let's look at their history. So they're talking about thieves. There's something called the Berlin Conference, where all the European nations came together to rob the motherland, Africa, where Kemet is. You see? And these are the people that's writing about this. So man, you have to make sure your third eye is open so you can see through all the BS. We weighed it out. Look at their history. Everywhere they went in the world. Look at their history compared to the Egyptians. Wow. This kind of mess, I tell you. Then it said nomad hunters. A nomad is a person that moves from place to place. Similar to a daggone, what do you call it, man? It'll come to me in a minute. It'll come to me in a minute. What Esau was in the Bible. He couldn't sit still. Always moving. That's them. They got to be in everybody's business. Got to be in everybody's land. All right. Now, nomad hunters and thieves into a settled people with a God, a priesthood, and a worship, and taught them to believe in divine incarnation, and gave them a hope of resurrection and immortality, and of an existence in heaven, which they were taught could only be attained by those who had lived righteous lives upon earth and through the mercy of Osiris. Sounds like the same thing they told you about Jesus Christ. About a heaven, about a resurrection, and mercy. Boy, they got the story from ancient Kemet. I want you to hear it. You open up this third eye, man, and receive it. Don't even fight it no more. Why you fighting it? Huh? Listen to this. The Egyptian texts now available enable us to trace the history of the cult of Osiris from the archaic. Archaic means from the ancient or the oldest that they can find. From the archaic to the Roman period with tolerable completeness. Yeah, because they're going to put their BS in it like we reading his BS that he's saying now, right? But its beginning is hopelessly lost in obscurity. It's lost because they put their hand to it. That's the truth. They'll never give the truth the way it is in its purest form. They don't know how to. That's why it says in this book, when it talks about the father of liars. Y'all better understand. Osiris was, I believe, this is what he's saying. Osiris was, I believe, an African. Wow. Though not necessarily a Nilotic. A Nilotic god, small g. And the birthplace of his cult seems to have been Upper Egypt. The exact meaning of his name is uncertain, for that of seat maker. Now, let's stop. He said his name is, Osiris' name was uncertain, but he's saying somewhere they found that his name meant seat maker. He don't understand it. He don't even know where it comes from. But I get it. Like I told you, man, everything in this book, listen to me. Now that I found out the truth and I know the truth and my third eye is open, do I not read the Bible at all? No, but I read the Bible every day. You know how many years I got in this book? But now I read with an understanding and I know now. So I can see. And the people that we're dealing with, like I said, you got to watch how the serpent moves. And you have to be connected. Because once you're connected, the creator gonna let you know, hey, go on past that. Go this way. That ain't, look past that. But there's a lot of truth in here. But you got to understand what you're looking for. You have to be connected, and that third eye has to be open. So when it says his name, Osiris, he's saying, first they say his name meant seat maker, but then say, no, that can't really be his name. Well, there's a story in this book right here that says, one of the scriptures they said, he said, I will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. That's the actual scripture written in this book, right? And I told you, this book has its origin because they took it from Egypt. I will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemy. Okay, for a table to be in the presence of you, guess what you gotta have? A seat. Oh, maybe that didn't do it for you. Let's take it even further. In this book, there's a story where the Son of God, in this book, says that if you overcome, he'll make you to sit down with him on his Father seat, which is a throne. Now, that's out of the way. Let's go back to reading this, man. All right. It said the exact meaning of his name is uncertain, for that of seat maker, quotations, which is suggested by the pyramid text. Now, if it's on the pyramid text, it's written in stone. See how you got to watch how the enemy moves? Snake. E.A. Wallace Budge. And they be praising him. Yeah, he white. He ain't never ever just give the pure truth. He gonna throw his little salt in there. He gonna throw his little hate in there. And that's what I noticed about a lot of Caucasian writers. Back then, even to this day. It doesn't change. Anyway. By the pyramid text, it's hardly convincing. It's written in stone, but it's hardly convincing. And you probably just learned how to translate that. Man, watch the serpent. It is better to admit the fact at once and to say that its meaning is unknown to him. As regards the seat of his worship in Upper Egypt, it is quite certain that a shrine of the god existed at Abydos under the first dynasty. At first sight, it seems as if he was merely a deified king who had lived and reigned in the immediate neighborhood of that town. Early in the dynastic period, his priests cleverly succeeded in incorporating in his worship all that was best in the local cults and the ideas of morality, justice, and righteousness. They grouped about it, appealed quickly to the people all over Egypt. The spread of the cult was rapid. Kind of sound like Christianity, right? The spread of the cult was rapid, both in Upper Egypt and in the Delta, because no other cult offered to its adherents the hope of the resurrection or an immortality. In this book, Paul said we're going to slip out of mortality into immortality. I wonder where they got that from. The Son of God said they would tear this temple down and he'll raise it back up in what? 3 days? The resurrection? Wonder where they got that from. All right, listen on. Among the tribes of Egypt in general, the cult of Osiris took the place of the cult of ancestral spirits, which was universal in the Nile Valley in primitive times. So now they got to say it's primitive. Worshiping our ancestors. Told you, man, watch how the serpent moves. See, it's primitive when it's your ancestors. See, these are the same people that said we were subhuman and all. It's primitive when it comes to our ancestors. See, anything that comes to our history got to be primitive. They look past the serpent. Universal in the Nile Valley. Let me go back. Among the tribes of Egypt in general, the cult of Osiris took the place of the cult of ancestral spirits, which was universal in the Nile Valley in primitive times. But the people lost nothing by the exchange, for Osiris became the divine ancestor of them all. just like they try to make Jesus to us all. His human nature, they thought, enabled him to understand the needs, troubles, and griefs of men. Just like they did with Jesus, where that says there's only one mediator between God and man, and we don't have a high priest that can't understand or fathom what we're going through because he's been tempted in all the ways that we have. They said that in this book, they stole the origin from ancient giving. Third eye is open. Here we go. His human nature, they thought, enabled him to understand the needs, troubles, and griefs of men and to listen sympathetically to their prayers. And his divine nature gave him power to help them in this world and in the next, which no other ancestor god ever possessed. Well, you know, they stole it all from us. Osiris, the divine ancestor, became the father of the souls of the Egyptians and the symbol of their hope of resurrection and immortality. The early religious texts of Egypt prove beyond all doubt that the Egyptians, in common with many peoples in other parts of the world, when in a primitive state of civilization, were cannibals. You see how I told you how they're going to write it? Listen to the enemy right now. Were cannibals in pre-dynastic period, and that like many of the Nilotic tribes of the present day, they ate the bodies of enemies slain in battle as a matter of course. Wow. That's the tongue of the snake, the forked tongue. I told you, they never gonna write right. They ain't upright. They never been upright. That ain't their history. That's not their known. That's not in their genetic makeup. So, slain in battle as a matter of course. Before the coming of the cult of Osiris, they must have eaten their own dead, as many modern tribes do. See, they're gonna talk about this is their pen. Modern tribes do, and there is reason to think that even after they had learned to know Osiris, the natural liking for human flesh, which is common to most African peoples, you listening to this BS? Asserted itself in times when food was scarce and during famine. Now, I want to make something clear. In this book, every time it was a famine, all the nations had to go to Egypt. So what the hell is he talking about? You see, third eye is open. When the Bible talk about a land of milk and honey, where you think they was talking about? They was talking about the land of Africa. That is the Holy Land. Let nobody tell you nothing different. All right, man, I'm almost finished this page. I'm almost finished this video. The early religious text. Let's go back. Osiris, the divine ancestor, became the father of the souls of the Egyptians and the symbol of their hope of resurrection and immortality. The early religious texts of Egypt prove beyond all doubt that the Egyptians, in common with many people in other parts of the world, when in a primitive state of civilization, were cannibals in the pre-dynastic period, and that like many of the Nilotic tribes of the present day, they ate the bodies of their enemies slain in battle as a matter of course. Slain in battle as a matter of course. Before the coming of the cult of Osiris, they must have eaten their own dead, as many modern tribes do, and there is reason to think that even after they had learned to know Osiris, the natural liking for human flesh, which is common to most African peoples, asserted itself in times when food was scarce and during famines. The disposal of the bodies of the dead must always have been a matter of difficulty in Egypt, for the land suitable for purposes of agriculture was far too valuable to the living to be given up to the dead. The bodies of kings, chiefs, nobles, and rich men were always buried, sometimes in tombs hewn in the rocks and sometimes in the sandy soil on the edge of the desert. And at one time it must have been thought that they were the only members of the population who would enjoy a future existence. The bodies of the bulk of the people were either laid in extremely shallow graves. You listening? extremely shallow graves from which they would be dragged easily by the dogs and by the wolves, foxes, and jackals of the desert. And that's page 16 and 17, the preface of Osiris and the Egyptian resurrection. And like I said, you got to read through the BS. Even E.A. Wallace Budge, the BS he just said about them eating dead bodies and this and that. Boy, that's why they found all the mummies, and they still over there examining all the mummies. So what is he talking about eating bodies? That's their history. That's their history. Eating flesh and dead bodies. That's why when you read in this book, they transfer that mess in there talking about eating of the breaking of eating his body and drinking his blood with what they call the Passover meal. This is the stuff the Roman Catholic Church practice now. Eating of flesh and drinking of blood when they break the sacrament and give it to you and you drink it. Man, you better open your third eye up and come to the knowledge of the truth. Stop fighting it. Recognize what's going on here. Well, I ain't got too much more to say, man. That's pretty much it. Just wanted y'all to, see this. And remember, you can get this, man. You can get you might as well go ahead and download it before they fix it where you won't be able to get it no more. Download a free PDF of this book, Osiris and the Egyptian Resurrection by E.A. Wallace Budge. All right. I want you to pay attention. Look at what you're looking at. Just focus on it. You know they ain't never right with their dates. But this is underneath one of them pyramids. Looking at the resting place, the tomb, or the sarcophagus of who we call Osiris. Oh, they know he was real. Yeah. So yeah, it's a myth. It's a story. But they have reason to believe that they know where he resting at. I dropped the audio on it. Because once you watch it, they're going to tell you they sealed it up. They wouldn't let nobody else go back down there. Once they realized what they was looking at. Yeah, take a look at that. See, it's a such thing as myths, such thing as fables, such thing as lies. But when it's carved in stone, hey man, when facts is right in front of your face, I mean, you looking at it, man. Look at it. 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 Right there in your face. Right there in your face. Wow. They took so much from us, man. So much. I hope my people got them third eyes open. Time to come to the truth, baby.